Eastern Michigan opens their season in 38 days at the factory against Old Dominion, but the season starts today here at Mac Media Day. Lots of excitement and improvements all around for this ball club as they look to improve upon their 2-10 record from a season ago. Here at Ford Field today, that's where the Eagles will look to come back on December the 5th. That's where the MAC championship game would be held. The Eagles have a young ball club this year, and they're led by one of the finest quarterbacks in this conference in dual-threat quarterback Reggie Bell, who was one of just 7 players a year ago in the NCAA to lead his ball club in passing and in rushing. On the defensive side of the football, it's Pat O'Connor, who is just 6 sacks shy, the all-time sack leader in Eastern Michigan football history. He also led the team and the conference in sacks a year ago. Optimism all around. Head coach Chris Creighton talks more about it here. Welcome to MAC Media Day. 38 days until Eastern Michigan starts their campaign against Old Dominion. I'm here with head coach Chris Creighton. It's his second go-around as the head boss at Eastern Michigan. And, well, this is a little bit easier now that you've been through this grind of Media Day and already been through a grind of a season.
Yeah, I don't know if it's easier, but it's more familiar, more comfortable for sure. Yeah, the grind, we love the grind, but, you know, it's that chase, you know, to become better every day, and we're right in the middle of it.
We talked about it off air. It's been a long time since you've been on the bottom looking up. You've had such success in your previous, 13, 15 seasons as a head coach. What kind of challenge does it bring to you, and a testament of your faith and your will to get better and know that the plan and the blueprint is there? It's a process.
Yeah, you know, it's easier. I've always said this even in games, like when it's already happening and people believe and jump on, I mean, that's when it's easy. I mean, the belief and the faith, you know, you have to have it when that's all there is, when nobody else, or I don't say nobody else, you know, feels that same way. And so that's trying and testing, but it's good because we do believe in what we're doing, and we believe in the program and in our guys and how we're going about it. And so, yeah, we don't need for everybody else, you know, to think that way. We're going to do what we do, and we're having fun doing it.
We know 2 wins isn't enough for you or your program, but you talked about last year some of the things that happened outside of the results that you were proud of with your ball club. Speak specifically on that.
Well, you know, last season, the Saturday afternoons, many of them were really frustrating. That's good, though. That's okay. You know, for those 3 hours, and it's obviously a lot more than the 3 hours, but yeah, you want to win. You want to be successful. And so when you're not, it's really frustrating. But bigger picture, you know, we did not go backwards in the season. We'd built up so much momentum and, you know, built the relationships and installing and instilling the program. And then despite being frustrated on Saturday afternoons, you know, we didn't implode and go backwards. And so now the new offseason comes and we're continuing to progress. And so that's one of the things that I'm proud of is our guys' resiliency and just the ability to believe in something yet to come.
One of the exciting pieces of the puzzle is a young man who's here with us today, and your quarterback, Reggie Bell. And he's coming back for his 3rd season overall, but just his 2nd season on the field. Talk about Reggie's progress this summer and as a player and as a human being.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I think that he's indicative of our whole team and our whole program, and that there's not a single guy in our program who had the back-to-back offense schemes or back-to-back defensive schemes in their career. Up until this fall, every year it had been something different. And so I think for everybody, the comfort, the familiarity with our schemes and our program, I think that's a big deal. And now we're working on nuances. Now we're working on details and not just instilling and installing. And so, you know, he's just, again, I mean, he's not different than anybody else in terms of just more comfortable, more familiar, doing things for a 2nd and a 3rd time.
A guy on the defensive side of the ball that you've brought is Pat O'Connor, a guy that is the leader in sacks, not only on your ball club, but in the MAC last year. And he's 6 sacks shy of the all-time sack record at Eastern Michigan. This is the kind of guy you want to go to battle with.
Oh, man. You know, there are guys where, you walk out in the pregame on a Saturday, and you just know that your guy is better than whatever they have, and the more of those you have, the better, and that's the way we feel about OC. And, the one of the really neat things about OC is that he is, in this last year, has made himself even better. But I think one of the things, and there's a number of guys who have done this, he has brought other people along. And so just his influence and his leadership, it's been exponential. Not only making himself better, but that wasn't enough. He's impacted and affected other guys, and that's super exciting.
You wrote a letter last week to potential football mothers, and this letter has gained national attention. Talk about the intent of this letter, and talk about how much it's meant to you to have that opportunity to play football.
Yeah, well, first, I never imagined that it would get the attention that it has, but the intent, other than just saying for myself, I need to write something, to thank football, and to future moms that were in a situation that I was in, to let them know that if their son wants to play, that there's inherent risk in most everything worthwhile, and that not to minimize at all the reality of some of those risks, but this game is powerful, and it's positive, and it gives a lot more than it takes away. And so the intent was just to kind of share my story, if anybody wanted to listen to it, and it's felt really good with a lot of the responses.
You've also continued to write letters to other coaches that have been in a similar position that you're in, and coming from a program that has not won quite a bit. Talk about some of those letters, who they were written to, and what the intent of those letters were.
Well, some of it was just for my own personal professional development. You want to get better every year, and then also I've asked some of those guys to write, or all of them, to write our team a letter. And our team hasn't seen them yet, but they're going to, and when they get our champions manual and we report, and they're just quality letters, and all of those people are just quality people. And so we just wanted to look at programs that had been dormant for a significant amount of time, who then had sustained success. And really, there's very few. That's really rare to do. But Coach Snyder at Kansas State's been well documented. And then Coach Novak, I've had several conversations with him. He's been incredible to me. Wrote Coach Freeze down at Ole Miss, and Coach Cutcliffe at Duke, and then Coach Briles at Baylor. They all wrote back. Just our profession is such a good one. People helping out other people. And just, to be honest with you, they all had things to say, but one of the sort of the main themes was believe in what you're doing, don't try to be somebody else, and stick with it. And so it was really, a lot of it was affirmation, and just confirmation to continue to do what we're doing, and to believe in it, and to see it through.
You also believe in community service and getting these young men together to build a bond. Not all about wins and losses, you've explained. Talk about that and how this team has responded to your philosophy of team bonding for life.
Yeah, well, it's I don't know if our guys think about it that way. They loved each other way before we got here, and then now we just want to be intentional with that, and put fuel on the fire. And relationships can always go deeper. No matter how tight they are, they can always go deeper. And so we just want to intentionally facilitate ways for our team, not just position groups, not just buddies, not just in the same recruiting class, but there's 105 or so guys on the team, and sometimes the number is so big it's really hard to get to know everybody on a personal level. But the more you can get to know, the deeper, the better. It helps on Saturdays. It helps, throughout the reality of life that goes on through college, and then after you're done. And so our team's tight, and love them and proud of them, and it's going to be fun to go do this again with them.
Speaking of depth and getting deeper, let's talk about positions. Let's start offensively with the running back position, perhaps the biggest strength on your ball club. Take us through some of the personnel on the running back side of things and where the opportunities lie in this offense in the run game.
Well, in terms of the upperclassmen, Darius Jackson has always been mentioned with Bronson and Brummie, and played a lot, but really in a slot last year. And now he's a senior, and I think he's just been chomping at the bit to really show what he can do and to help lead this team. And he's a beautiful athlete, inside out, and excited for him for his senior year. And then I think Juwan Lewis is the other upperclassman who, in our 2 spring games, really has showed out. So I know that he's super excited about it. And another guy that's kind of been, in the wings. We then redshirted our 3 freshmen last year. So you're talking about Shaq Van and Ian Erickson and Blake Banham. Blake Banham's probably going to play a little bit more in the slot this year, but is really coming on strong. And then Shaq and Ian are 2 guys that we've had on our team, but we haven't played, and they're bursting at the seams. And so we do feel as though we have really good depth at the running back position, and excited about watching those guys go.
Let's stick on that theme of youth. 34 true freshmen, 22 redshirt freshmen on this team, just 12 seniors. Quite different from a year ago. What does that do to the complexity of the team, and how have they responded?
Yeah, when you look at the 105, 110 guys who will be on the team, when you start talking about 22 and 34, you're starting to talk about that's a lot of youth. And that's about half the team that have just kind of come in from the get-go, with us. And so, you want to get those guys and everybody to that junior and senior upper class, and we're going to be relying on our upperclassmen and on the experience. But it is definitely going to be augmented with the depth and whatnot with younger guys who can play. Unlike last year, we're not going to blanket redshirt the freshman class. We're glad that we did that last year. Jeremiah Harris and Jason Beck both played, but otherwise we redshirted. This year, we're taking the whole group and saying, hey, if you're ready to compete and can help us, then you're going to be playing.
You have a dual threat quarterback in Reggie Bell, one of just 7 players last year in Division I that were able to lead their ball club both in passing and in rushing. He's added a little bit of talent. You've added a little bit of talent around him. Talk about the impact of some of these players that are coming in and to help him in some of these intermediate routes.
Yeah, and it's a we thing in the recruiting. Our staff does obviously an incredible job, and then our team is such a huge part of the recruiting. You recruit people to the family and to the program, and the family and the program are people, and so our guys don't get enough credit for the work that they do and being themselves in the recruiting process. But I think that the team was built to run. We had talked about that some, probably more so than passing the ball, and we want to be more balanced with that. And so, we're throwing the ball more than they had. We have to have a great running game. We want to have a great running game, and so we scholarshiped five wide receivers, and then Kevin Davis, who was at Indiana, who transferred and had to sit out last year. I mean, that's 6 at the wide receiver position, alone. And then with moving Cole Gardner to tackle, which has really been a good move for us, and Dustin Creel being able to play both inside and outside, we have some new H-backs, both upper class guys who have transferred in, and freshmen at both the Y and the H-back position. So there will be some new faces, competing for playing time, and we're excited about it.
Let's talk on the defensive side of the ball. Pat O'Connor leads you there. He also has a nice solid bookend in Jeremiah Harris, one of the 2 guys you mentioned that played last year. Talk about the depth on defense and where some of the opportunities this year are going to lie.
Well, when you have those 2 guys coming back on the edge with Mike Brown coming back on the inside, you start getting really excited, And so on the defensive line, though, you've got to be able to play multiple people. And so I think the way that we've been challenged and need to improve and are excited about where we're headed with that is for other guys to be stepping up to be able to play. And there's a group of guys that are capable of doing that, and that's got to come to fruition this fall on the defensive line. But, to have those 3 starters back, we feel pretty good about it.
Let's talk about the schedule. 3 of your first 4 games are at home in the factory.
Yeah.
What an advantage for you in this ball club. Talk about getting off to a fast start and the opportunity. Of course, the percentage increases with playing at home.
Yeah, we're really thankful for that. Last year we played at home in August and then didn't come back home until October 11th. It was a long stretch. And so to have 3 out of our 4 at home is a really big deal. We open up with Old Dominion, team that we played last year in a really close game. And so, our guys are excited about that. There's some familiarity, and we were on the wrong end of the stick on that one, and so excited about that game. And then we'll go out to Wyoming and play there, and then come back. We have the first conference game in the conference with Ball State. And that's a game last year that in a lot of ways we played pretty well. In a lot of ways it was It was not our best foot forward, and they're a really good team and program, and so it'll be great to have a measuring stick early like that, and then to host Army the week after that. So it's a great early lineup for us.
Coach, thanks so much for your time. Best of luck this year. We look forward to following you all season long.
Appreciate it, Chad.
All right, there he is. Chris Creighton, the head coach of Eastern Michigan University. Media Day 2015, Old Dominion on September the 5th to open the season up.